What's up, gentlemen? Welcome to the Gird Up Podcast. My name is Charlie Ungamak. I'm the founder and curator of Gird Up, and this is the place where young men come to learn what it means to be a man after God's own heart. Hope I can be a guide for you on your path towards genuine Christian masculinity. Today's topic is one that I get actually fairly often, and it always drives me a little bit nuts. And frankly, people are always a little bit annoyed with the answer because people don't want to know that they're insufficient or that their own behavior is causing some of their difficulties. But the reality is, the number of friends you have and the quality of your friendships is entirely dependent upon you. And you can't blame other people for not wanting to be your friend. Like I said, this one drives me nuts. There's way too many people asking, especially guys asking, why don't I have any friends? Or why don't people like me? Or even, I have a lot of friends, but I don't have any close friends, and I can't figure out why. Well, simple answer to a simple question. Why don't I have any friends? Well, because you're not bringing anything to the table. If you want to improve your ability to make friends and have friends, you have to ponder, what are you bringing to the table? You got to be bringing something to the table as a young man if you want to have friends. But I want to make something clear before we get into that. You do have something to bring to the table. I guarantee you do. You have more than a something. You've got several somethings you can bring to the table. I guarantee it. God gives each and every single one of us unique gifts and abilities and different qualities and characteristics and traits that if we choose to use them and use them well and be stewards of them, are going to be very useful in making friends for us and in contributing to the world. But if you choose not to use the gifts and abilities you've been given to build other people up, to be selfless with them, to give away, then you're not going to have friends in the first place. So you got to figure out what you're bringing to the table. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But in order to have friends, in order to make new friends, in order to have good, strong friendships, you, first of all, have to be a good friend. You cannot be upset with other people for not wanting to be your friend. The reason they don't want to be your friend is they don't see any value in you. They don't see any value in your friendship. And whether they're consciously thinking it or not, they don't want to be your friend because you say there's no advantage. So the first thing you have to do is make the shift from being selfish to being selfless. Most of the time when guys say, I don't have any friends or nobody wants to be my friend, what they're doing is going out to the world and saying, I deserve friends. I deserve to be friends with you. I should be that I'm entitled to friendships with people. And none of that is true at all. Friendships are based on value added to each other's lives. And if you're not adding value to the people around you, adding value to the lives of the people around you, again, you're not going to have good relationships with those people. So this has to switch from a what can I get out of this relationship idea, a thought process, to a what can I give to this relationship thought process. And don't get me wrong, friendships are relationships. Obviously, they're not like erotic or loving or romantic relationships, and it's a different relationship than the one you have with your family, but it is a relationship. So if you're going to have friends, you have to be able to build and sustain healthy relationships. Okay? You need to be a truly humble person. A truly humble person is not concerned with their own selves, their own health, their own good. They are within reason, but that's not the focus of their life. A humble person is diligently caught up in the needs of others. They're worried about how they can make other people's lives better. They're genuinely interested in other people. People who generally don't have friends are introspective. They are always thinking about themselves. They are narcissistic maybe to an extent, and they say, I don't have any friends because nobody likes me. No, you don't have any friends because you haven't made yourself likable. And that might be tough love, but it's true. And don't get down on yourself. This is something you can fix. God has created you a lovely thing. You are lovely. You are lovable. But you need to act that way and behave that way and add value to other people's lives in order to have friends. The easiest way to do that is to identify a need that you can meet, okay? Don't try and force yourself into relationships with other people. Don't try and force yourself into friendships. Let the world feel the weight of who you are as an individual, as who you are as an individual who's in love with their Savior, as an individual creation of a loving Heavenly Father. Figure out who you are and what you offer the world, and let the world feel the weight of who you are. Okay? We're going to talk about being a poser later on. You don't want to be a poser. Figure out who you genuinely are and offer that to the world, and people will be attracted to it. The second thing you got to make sure you do is be consistent over time, okay? One of my favorite things to tell people, and one of my favorite things to remind myself, is that you show up for the ones you love. Every once in a while, somebody will say, I'm not sure if I belong, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be there, and my answer is always, you show up for the people you love. You show up for the things you love and the people you love. This is a biblical concept, right? The idea that your heart can't serve two masters. You'll either love one and hate the other, or despise one and, you get the passage, right? The same thing is true for friendships. You will show up for the things and people that you love. If you would rather stay home and play video games than be with your friends or show up for the people around you, it means that you care more about that. Really, you care more about the dopamine that's going flooding your body when you play the video games than you do about the friendships that you're trying supposedly value and try and create. That needs to be a conversation you have with yourself. What do I really value? What do I really show up for? If I only hang out with my friends when we're drinking, it's really not the friends, it's the alcohol, right? If I only show up when we're doing sports, then I really care more about the sports than I do about the friends. If you want to have people in your life, your emphasis needs to be on them, not on you, okay? So figure out what need you can meet and then be consistent about meeting that need. Okay, you show up for the people that you love. You continue to add that value consistently over time. Friendships don't happen overnight. So show up, add value, be consistent over time, and you'll have friends. Okay? The second thing is posers don't last. Okay? If you're going to be consistent over time, you better not be faking it. If you aren't really providing what you think you provide, if you're pretending to be something or someone other than what you actually are, if you're not letting the world see the genuine you, then people aren't going to like what they see, and or you're eventually going to run out of steam and you can't be that anymore. You're going to get tired of putting on an act and putting on a show. If you are an introvert and you decide, nope, I'm going to be the connector. I'm going to connect people together. I'm going to be the social butterfly of the group. Eventually, you're going to run out of steam and you're going to have to take a break. People aren't going to understand why you're different today than you were yesterday. All of a sudden, you're inconsistent. You're not providing the same service to the group all the time, and it's going to be harder to be your friend. Okay, so figure out what you genuinely are good at, what you genuinely enjoy, and use those things you know about yourself to figure out what you're going to add to the group. Don't be a poser, because posers don't last. If you really, really, really want to have friends, you've got to bring something to the table. I've said it about 100 times. It's a simple message, and it's absolutely true. You need to first take an honest look at yourself and figure out what you can genuinely offer to the group, and then offer it selflessly and willingly. Don't demand things from the people that you want to be friends with or from your current friends. Don't expect them to be don't expect there to be reciprocity right away. It might take a while to form those friendships, and be consistent about what you do in those relationships and in those friendships. Okay? Figure out who you are, be genuine, and be consistent. If you can't figure out what you can offer to the group, just start asking. You might not want to walk up to somebody you don't know and say, what can I do for you? What can I offer the group here? But if you're walking into a new work environment, look around, figure out what's needed, maybe even ask some tactful questions. If you're walking into a new group of friends, if you're showing up at college, or even if you just want to bolster the friendships that you do have, be tactful and say something to the effect of, like, I wouldn't even say, what role can I fill? Just ask questions like, hey, man, I want to be a better friend to you. What can I do? Hey, man, I've got some time this weekend. What can I help you with? That kind of thing, okay? Find ways to get involved in the people around you. Be consistent about it, and be genuine about it, okay? And last and finally, don't waste your time on people that aren't going to return your friendship. This also is kind of a harsh reality, but it's true, and you need to hear it. Don't waste time and effort on friends who don't give back to you, all right? You should be selflessly pouring into your friends, and your friends should be selflessly pouring into you, okay? I'm not saying cut everybody out of your life that doesn't do what you want. Don't hear that, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can only have so many true and genuine friends. I like to call it my basketball team. I have about 4 or 5 guys who I'm super tight with, who know what's going on in my life. I'm in consistent communication with them. Most of them live close by. So they have a place at my table and at my fire, or what term you want to use. They're always around me, okay? And I keep those 5 guys around me. And those 5 guys pour into me just as much as I pour into them, okay? And sometimes I give more than they give me. Sometimes they give me more than I give them. But throughout the course and stages of life, they pour into me, I pour into them, and we're both consistent about it. You can't expect people that aren't pouring into you to add value to your life, okay? Figure out who's adding value to your life and try and add value to their life in return, and that's how you build really strong, really good friendships. All right? I love you, gentlemen. I want to help you be a good friend. I want to help you be a man after God's own heart. God bless you all. We'll see you next time. Go be the man that God created you to be. Gentlemen, that's the end of the video. That's all we got for you this time. So on behalf of all those involved in creating, editing, producing, and publishing this content, thank you for being a part of the Gird Up family. If you're not listening to the Gird Up podcast yet on whatever platform is your favorite podcast platform, you need to go subscribe right now and start listening today. There you will find over 300 episodes of interviews, man talk, and all kinds of other things, all geared at helping you become a man after God's own heart. It's a great resource. Go use it wisely. We also ask that you would consider supporting Gird Up Ministries by shopping at the store at girdupministries.com, buying a shirt like this one or stickers for the back of your car, your water bottles, whatever. You can support us on Patreon by donating. Just look up Gird Up Ministries there on Patreon. Or you can go to girdupministries.com and buy us a cup of coffee. That's just a one-time $5 donation. Anything you donate goes right back into making content like this for men like you. Make sure you're following us on social media, particularly Facebook and Instagram. Like all of our posts, share them, get the word out to the world that we can and are ready to be men after God's own heart. With all that being said, gentlemen, I love you. I deeply care about you. And I hope that this has been a blessing on your journey towards Christian manhood. Now go, gird up, and be the man that God created you to be. We'll see you next time.